So there I was on vacation, zipping around Maui, and by that I mean sitting in the passenger seat, scrolling on my phone, when I came across this breaking news. Director of the new Fast and Furious has walked off the shoot 1 week into filming. Justin Lin came in for the third Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
It's not the ride, it's the rider.
And then he directed the following 3 films. So he directed 4 of the Fast and Furious films. Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6. And then he took a gap from directing from the franchise, which I think is natural. But then he came back for Fast 9, which was released in 2021. So they're shooting Fast 10, and Lin walks from the production, which is highly unusual. I can't highlight how highly unusual that is. And it's so unusual because it means the studio is scrambling to find a replacement, and it's expensive. They're losing money each day. They're postponing and deviating from their production schedule. And at this point in production, everything has been planned and been laid out. Tons and tons of work has been done. So they have to find a director that's willing to come in and kind of execute someone else's vision. I think in a tentpole franchise like this, you can't really have a director that comes in and is like, I want to change everything and make this more my style. I think they come in and kind of follow the outline that the studio and the producers and that Lin had set up. The internet is telling me, and all sources linked in the description, that the studio is losing around $1 million a day. Each day they have to get behind schedule and push production. So $1 million a day. I want to read Lin's statement, so here we go. I have made the difficult decision to step back from Fast 10. While remaining with the project as a producer, over 10 years and 5 films, we have been able to shoot the best actors, the best stunts, and the best damn car chases. On a personal note, as a child of Asian immigrants, I am proud of helping build the most diverse franchise in movie history. I will forever be grateful to the amazing cast, crew, and studio for their support, and for welcoming me into the Fast family. Perfectly solid statement, but what's missing is the why. Why did Lin step back from the franchise? That's what we all want to know. I can appreciate that Lin didn't use the standard stepping back for personal reasons, and by not giving a why, I think he's kind of purposely leaving it open for interpretation, right? If it wasn't something a little bit scandalous, I think he would have straight up maybe told us and maybe have said health issues or family reasons, but he's purposely leaving it broad is my interpretation. I'm sure many of us have heard the speculation about Vin Diesel and The Rock's. Is there a better word for beef? I guess not. Vin Diesel and The Rock's beef, right? They're known for butting heads and not getting along. And essentially, The Rock kind of stepped away from the franchise and the studio kind of gave him his own franchise because he's such a, box office draw. They're like, okay, you don't want to work with Vin Diesel, you can do this, and we want to keep you around. Supposedly, Diesel felt like The Rock was stepping on his toes. The Diesel's been there since the beginning. I think he probably thinks it's his franchise, and he probably doesn't appreciate, feeling threatened. That's my take. So when I heard about Lin leaving, I thought maybe this has to do with Vin Diesel and his behavior on set. Vin Diesel is also a producer on these movies, which means he has even more power than just being the star, right? On the producer side, he's getting paid more, and it means he has a say. They're paying him for him to have a say. According to Yahoo News, which is where I get all my news, last week, director Justin Lin made the shocking decision to step away from directing the 10th Fast and Furious film, a move that is now being blamed on Vin Diesel's difficult behavior on set. And difficult is in all quotes. I'm sure that's, for legal reasons. And there's a quote here from an unnamed source, very, very convenient. And this unnamed source is saying, Diesel shows up late to set, he doesn't know his lines, and he shows up out of shape. Oof. So he's late, doesn't know his lines, and he's got a bit of a jelly belly, is how I'm reading that quote. Showing up late, I have zero respect for. If you work on video or film production, you know that if you show up late, it can affect everyone. And if you're like the star, that literally means everyone's sitting around waiting for you. They can't start rolling until you've gone to makeup. They can't do a bunch of things. They can't film until you're fucking there. Being late just really shows how little you value everyone's time. And something like the movie business, it's so expensive. And getting behind schedule, it costs money, right? And I'm not like crying and weeping for Paramount. They have a lot of money. They've made a lot of money from this franchise. But still, think about the people that are on set there making this movie every day. I'm sure they're on time, right? The last thing about Diesel being out of shape, that kind of feels like a dig to me. I don't think that him being not as muscly and as cut as the studio would prefer, I don't think that's the reason that Lin walked from the movie. This article states that Lin was actually signed on to do the next 3 movies of the franchise, so 10, 11, 12, Fast, Still Fast, and Faster and Faster. And Lin was reportedly going to get between 10 to 20 million for each film. The article does also mention that The Rock and the Diesel's beef, is notorious in the industry, and that The Rock basically refused to work with Vin Diesel again. Which does, they're making a correlation between Vin Diesel's behavior and people leaving the franchise. Oh, and I did want to mention Justin Lin's first feature film, Better Luck Tomorrow. It's actually a great movie. It's one of the first movies MTV, I think, bought for distribution.
Johnson. Bohemian Moravian.
Portugal.
Tetrahydrocannabinol.
I didn't ask a question. Sorry. Were we competitive?
Tokyo, Japan.
A little.
Can't wait to go to college, man. All that studying finally pays off and you get to leave this hellhole.
Do this by tomorrow, you get a 50. What? We don't have to play by the rules. We can make our own. It's easy money.
There's gonna be a lot of money involved. Our straight A's were our alibis. As long as our grades were there, we were trusted.
What does he think he is? Some Chinese movie stuff? Hi, I am Chow Yun-fat.
The more notorious we became,
when you got everything you want, what's left? You can't settle for being happy. That's a trap.
But I thought it was very solid for his kind of one of the films that is essentially his directorial debut. This morning I was laying in bed, scrolling on my phone. Once again, that needs to stop at some point. And I saw this article from Next Shark, and the headline is, Director Justin Lin quit Fast X after major disagreement with Vin Diesel. So, the whispers, the murmurs are getting a bit louder here. Apparently, The Hollywood Reporter says that there was trouble brewing for months. Lin was reportedly upset about the direction of the script. He came in thinking the script was done, ready for production, and then I guess Universal and Vin Diesel hired more actors to help with the dialogue. Which I'm kind of all for polishing the dialogue. This franchise is not known for, the quality dialogue.
Are you one of those boys who prefers cars to women?
I'm one of those boys that appreciates a fine body regardless of the make.
What's up with this fool? What is he, sandwich crazy?
I smell skanks. Why don't you girls just pack it up before I leave tread marks on your face?
On April 23rd, Lin reportedly had a major disagreement with Diesel during a 4-person meeting. The meeting started with Diesel discussing new notes and ended with someone slamming the door. A quote here, Justin finally had enough and said, "This movie is not worth my mental health," one source said. So that's what I was speculating earlier, and I think that is solid. That is that's a solid reason to walk away. So all the articles are linked below if you want to read more in depth, and I'm sure we'll hear more about the situation, or maybe not. I think Lin is a professional, and it could be bad for his career to come out against a very established actor / producer of this huge franchise. But I think it would be very brave and very bold to become public, because I think some people in the industry have big egos, and their egos affect not just the outcome, the result, the actual film, but they affect the day-to-day of the production. It shouldn't be like that. Lin is a very rich man, right? He can afford to walk away from this franchise. But that being said, I can really appreciate that he's not, putting his head down, sucking it up, and still making the movie. I think he said, enough is enough. I'm walking away from all this money because at the end of the day, it's not worth it to me. All this money isn't worth it to me. And I also already have a lot in my bank account.